Welcome back to The Critique. Today, we're digging into a commentary video about the very public, very messy fallout between Candace Owens, Brett Cooper, and the Daily Wire.
This is that video promising the dark secrets, right? Bribery, wedding sabotage, all of it.
That's the one. It's high-stakes stuff, but as we looked at this piece, we found a few key areas where the execution, well, it gets in its own way. We've got 4 main points today: the hook, the tone, the structure, and the overall depth of the argument. So let's just dive right in with that first hurdle, the hook.
Or, I guess, the lack of one?
Right. The biggest issue right off the bat is that the piece takes way too long to get to its core promise. You click a title about dark secrets, and you get something else entirely.
You get administrative housekeeping. I actually timed it, and it was nearly 90 seconds.
A minute and a half?
Yeah, a full minute and a half before you even hear the names Candace Owens or Jeremy Boring in the context of the fight.
And what are you hearing in that 90 seconds instead?
Oh, a recap of the host's trip to Sydney, seeing the comedian Matt Rife, talk about sleep deprivation, jet lag.
Even his jogging schedule, I think.
Yes, and the weakness there is just massive. You're creating this huge barrier to entry. In today's media world, you have maybe, 5 seconds to justify that click?
Exactly. You're signaling that this explosive topic isn't actually that urgent.
It's a total mismatch of expectation. And there was one specific part of that intro that really stood out to me as a problem.
The mushy brain comment?
The mushy brain comment, yeah. The host literally says, "My brain is mush because I'm tired."
And I get the intent. You're trying to be relatable, maybe excuse any stumbles.
But the effect is so damaging. It's a preemptive apology. You're basically telling your audience, hey, I'm not at my best, so maybe don't trust what's coming next.
It completely undercuts your authority before you've said a single thing about the topic.
Why should I trust your breakdown of a complex corporate feud if you've just told me you're not thinking clearly?
It's self-sabotage. So the suggestion here is pretty straightforward. Adopt an in media res approach.
Start in the middle of the action.
Drop the listener right into the conflict. Take all that personal stuff, the trip, the jet lag, and move it to the very end of the recording. Or just cut it.
I think people worry they'll lose that personal connection, but for this kind of content, the connection is built through the insight, right?
It is. I mean, imagine if this piece just started cold.
With the craziest claim.
Exactly. Just start with Candace Owens is claiming the CEO of the Daily Wire tried to bribe a maid of honor to ruin a wedding. Let's talk about it.
See, I'm instantly hooked. I have to know what happens next.
Right. And if you feel you absolutely have to mention the fatigue, you can weave it in later.
As a transition or something.
Yeah, like, now I'm running on 2 hours of sleep here, but even I can see the holes in this story.
And that frames it completely differently. It goes from being an excuse to being a testament to your dedication.
Turns a weakness into a strength. So once we get past that intro, we run into the second big issue, which is all about tone. The piece takes a strong stance, which is good, but the way it's delivered, with ad hominem attacks and nicknames, it really lowers the speaker's authority.
This was really prevalent. You can tell the host is angry, but it comes out as name-calling. We heard dingbat, calling Candace Candy dismissively.
And the most jarring one for me was the reference to her husband.
The Georgie boy, gay boy line?
Yeah, that's a major problem. Because what you're doing there is you're shifting the entire genre of the piece.
It stops being analysis.
It stops being analysis, and it starts sounding like a schoolyard fight. You sound like another participant in the drama, not an objective observer dissecting it.
You're a combatant, not a commentator, and you lose the high ground. The suggestion is to just replace the name-calling with a focus on the contradictions in their behavior.
You can still be just as critical.
Oh, even more so, because you're attacking the logic, not the person. So let's take that Georgie boy example. The host is trying to point out a hypocrisy, right?
Right.
Candace is speculating about Jeremy Boring's private life, but gets defensive about her own husband's.
The point is valid, but the slur just makes the host look petty. So instead of that, you frame it as a logical fallacy.
You could say something like, it's logically inconsistent for Owens to speculate on Boring's private life while demanding total privacy for her own family.
If she opens that door, she has to expect people to walk through it.
That's so much stronger. It's sharp, it's professional, and it makes the point without, getting into the mud.
And it makes the listener think about the actual standard of behavior, not just react to an insult. We saw it again with the Pearl Davis reference, too.
Oh, that was a strange one. He cites her as someone who agrees with his point.
But then calls her a dingbat in the same breath.
It's like calling your own witness an idiot before they testify. It makes the jury, the audience, distrust the very evidence you're presenting.
You completely undermine your own point. The fix is so simple, though.
Just present the argument.
Just present her point on its own merit. Even critics of the Daily Wire, like Pearl Davis, are pointing out the lack of evidence here.
And that builds consensus. It says, look, it's not just me. Even people on the other side see it. It elevates the whole conversation.
Which leads us to our third critique, the structure. This is a big one for clarity. The narrative keeps blurring the line between reporting the allegations and then immediately reacting to them.
I really struggled with this. It felt like watching a movie with a friend who keeps pausing it to yell at the screen.
That's a great way to put it.
He'd start reading a quote, like the maid of honor story, and then before he's even finished, he jumps in with, I don't trust Candace, or this is a huge mess.
And the weakness there is fragmentation. The listener's trying to build a picture of what happened, and if you keep interrupting that process with your opinion, they never get a clear view of the facts.
You're trying to debunk a claim I haven't even fully heard yet. It's just confusing.
It's so much cognitive load. You're trying to figure out, wait, is that what Candace said, or is that what the host thinks about what Candace said?
It's all mixed together like a salad.
Right, and we want separate courses, not a salad. So the suggestion here is to use a really strict block structure.
This takes discipline.
It does. It means you lay out the full allegation first, dispassionately, in one block. Then you have a second, totally distinct block for your analysis and your rebuttal.
Steelman the other side's argument.
Let's use that maid of honor story as an example, since it's so wild.
Okay.
So, block 1 is just the facts. The host says, Candace Owens alleges that Jeremy Boring offered Brett Cooper's maid of honor money to sabotage the wedding, period. You just present it as her narrative. Let the absurdity of it hang in the air.
And then, once that's clear, you move to block 2, the analysis.
That's when you come in with, now let's look at why this is implausible. Why would a CEO do this? Why did Brett praise him right after the wedding if this happened?
By separating them, the takedown is so much more effective.
It's way more satisfying. You let the audience see the claim, and then you dismantle it piece by piece.
It also respects the audience. You're saying, here's the data, now here's my interpretation, instead of just forcing it all on them at once.
There was another structural issue with the trauma bonding idea, too.
Yeah, that was sprinkled in everywhere.
The host keeps saying Brett is trauma bonded to Candace, but it's just kind of thrown in during the recap of lawsuits and contracts.
It felt like a throwaway line, but it's a really big psychological claim. Using that block structure idea, you could group all of that into its own segment.
Like a psychology of the split section?
Exactly. Do the legal, do the business, and then, okay, now let's talk about the personalities and why they might be shifting.
It gives the listener a chance to shift gears with you, and it prevents the script from feeling repetitive.
Which brings us perfectly to our final critique, which is about the depth of the argument itself.
Right. The piece has a lot of energy, but it felt like it stayed on the surface. The analysis relies too heavily on just reacting to the he said, she said drama.
I really felt this. A lot of time was spent on who's lying about emails or who's being a snake. And that's entertaining, I guess, but it misses the bigger picture, doesn't it?
It completely misses the so what. Why does this fight actually matter? This isn't just a reality show. It's the implosion of a huge media partnership.
The suggestion is to move beyond the drama and analyze the strategy behind the drama.
Okay, so a good example is when the host notes that Brett Cooper's rhetoric is shifting to sound more like Candace Owens.
Yeah, more like Nick Fuentes, that kind of.
The host's take is that she's brainwashed or trauma bonded.
Which is a very passive way to look at it. It takes away all of her agency. A deeper critique would look at this through the lens of, say, the influencer ecosystem.
Or audience capture.
Exactly. When you leave a big company like the Daily Wire, you have to find a new audience. You're entering a crowded market.
So becoming more radical isn't just brainwashing.
It's a business strategy. It's a pivot to capture a different demographic. That is a much more interesting and, frankly, more powerful argument than just saying she's naive.
It gives the listener a framework. It explains the mechanics of the industry, which is so much more valuable.
There was another one of these missed opportunities with the Fox News comparison.
Oh, that was such a good point that just got dropped.
Right? The host says Fox just moved on from Tucker Carlson while the Daily Wire is fighting back. And I wanted 5 minutes on just that.
Me too. Instead of just stating it, analyze the why. Why can't the Daily Wire just move on?
Because Fox News is a legacy institution. It's bigger than any single host. The Daily Wire is an internet brand built entirely on these personality cults.
And their intellectual property. The source mentions they're still using Candace's old IP.
That's the real story. It's not just pettiness, it's asset protection. If they let her control the narrative, it devalues their entire back catalog.
Framing it as a defense of brand integrity is just a higher level of analysis than framing it as a catfight.
And even that crazy maid of honor story fits into this. The host just calls it demented, which it is, but you can use it to talk about the blurred lines in these new media companies.
When your CEO is also your mentor and your friend.
The professional boundaries completely dissolve. That allegation, whether it's true or false, is a symptom of a business model where the personal and the professional are totally fused.
That's a structural critique of the entire industry, and that turns a gossip video into a media analysis video.
It's the difference between giving someone a fish and teaching them how to fish. Gossip is the fish. This kind of analysis is teaching your audience how the ocean works.
So let's do a quick recap. We've covered a lot of ground here. First, we hit the efficiency of the hook.
And the takeaway there is get to the point, start in media res, no 90-second travel logs.
Second, we talked about tone and credibility, how insults and name-calling just undermine your authority.
Be the forensic scientist, not just another person yelling. Attack the logic, not the person.
Third, we looked at structural clarity, the salad of facts and opinions that's just too hard to follow.
And the fix is that block structure. Facts first, pause, analysis second. It's clean and it's powerful.
And finally, we pushed for more argumentative depth, moving beyond the he said, she said to look at business strategy, audience capture, and IP.
Creating that evergreen value. Gossip fades, but analysis lasts.
So for our listener, here is your most concrete, actionable takeaway for the next piece. Focus on that structure. Script the claim section completely separate from your opinion section. Read the claim, take a beat, and then give your take. And make sure that very first sentence grabs the listener with the core conflict.
It's a simple change in format that will make a massive difference in your authority and your attention.
We would love to see how you implement these changes. Please submit the next iteration of your work for further review. Thank you for listening to The Critique.